Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Quick Track, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast, live and in person here at the CUI-CON 2026, February in Orlando, Florida, where It's nice and warm.
Yes.
And it's a very pleasant surprise from some of those that have come from the north, where it's been gross and disgusting weather. Yes.
Yeah.
So today I'm joined by Bill Wootton, getting there, with C3, Chief Growth Officer. Known you for a long time, known your team for a very long time. We're going to get into some of the angles in this podcast, come from all different angles. This is going to be more focused on the provider side and the vendor side and on what that means. We'll get into a couple different things here, but a little bit about you, a little about you guys here quick before we get into some of the questions.
Sure, great. Again, my name is Bill Wootton. I'm Chief Growth Officer here at C3 Integrated Solutions. We've been in the CMMC space for actually in a lot of ways 10 years. We've been working with defense contractors since the advent of 7012 coming around, working a lot with the Microsoft Cloud, moving along with the industry and at the pace of the industry to kind of now be able to support CMMC. And as an organization, we have a very prescriptive model in the way we approach CMMC. And when we think about the industry, there are folks who provide advisory type of services, folks that do a lot of great work in helping identify CUI, scope CUI, understand what is or isn't out of compliance or within a compliance boundary. Those folks tend to be very advisory oriented. And then there's the ESPs, the service providers. As a service provider, we're going to do things such as deploy licensing, implement services, provide configurations, manage the environment, monitor the environment, even go so far in some cases to provide the SSP and the documentation around it. And then we look at the third tier of the industry as really being the assessor community, that C3PO component. For us, we're very much in that service provider side of it, and really proud to be that role to help clients out with.
Yeah, which we appreciate too, because we're in the same boat as you guys, right?
Yep.
So this is the beauty, I think, of the ecosystem, is that may look like competitors on paper, but really we do all collaborate really well. Known your team since before you guys went through a merger years ago.
Yep.
It's been crazy. It seems like how long ago that was, but it really wasn't that long ago.
It's been 3 years since we had that first merger. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And
more since then, obviously. But yes, so from the ESP side, the external service provider side, what are some of the things that you guys do that there's different ways, different flavors, Baskin Robbins basically.
Sure.
But you guys, I think, have a very similar approach to the way that we kind of do it our way and some other. But how would the listener and watcher get a better idea of what you guys tend to do the most of?
So for us, it's really about starting with a very prescriptive approach. We started with the Microsoft Government Cloud, GCC High, Azure Government, in a lot of cases Azure Virtual Desktop, and said, what should the final answer look like? What would a compliant environment look like? And then work our way back through not just the actual configurations for what it would take to be compliant, but what does it take to manage that environment? What does it take to monitor that environment? And working all the way through to the point of being able to understand that when we deploy our prescriptive reference architecture, we know that that's just the starting point and the foundation for how we are going to run the environment, how we're going to monitor it, how we're going to achieve and maintain compliance all the way through. So for us, it really starts with that reference architecture as a foundation to deliver a full program for compliance.
And in that same light, the do-it-yourself approach can be very daunting and expensive.
Sure.
But it's doable.
Yep.
But you're hitting on some of the things that then kind of go beyond what you see sometimes on a SKU list or a statement of work or contract. There's a lot of things that you can buy and implement and procure licenses and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to time and efficiency and audit readiness, is where I think on the provider side we've seen a lot of in the last couple of years. Is it all looks great on paper, but then who's doing that? And it says that you're doing that, but you're not. So where are you guys able to take it from your reference architecture? You're in the Microsoft suite. you've built this thing out for somebody. Do you provide guidance, or where do you prefer they go, whether it's through partnerships on making sure that they have this thing, this engine fully running by the time they're ready for an assessment?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We're on the third generation of our solution set at this point, and we were at the second generation a year ago. We'd done a lot of hard work. We thought we had crossed a lot of T's, dotted a lot of I's, and we started getting into assessments. And we were really excited and proud of the fact that the system proved itself in terms of all the work we had done. But we also learned a lot as well. We're now on that third generation directly because of the experience of going through assessments and understanding not just what does it take to achieve compliance and maintain compliance, but be able to do it at scale as well. And that's the difference about having such long experience. You guys are in that same boat. We've now been around the block so many times. We're learning what it takes to do this at scale and in an efficient manner for our clients.
Yeah, you just beat me to my next question, because I was going to talk about, and I know this for a fact when I talk to your team, the misqualifications can be very dangerous in the space of a provider. Just because the phone rang and somebody wants to talk does not mean it's a fit. It's not an opportunity. And I know you guys and those that do it with hardened boundaries, and like you said, the recipe kind of already has been put together for you.
Sure.
For the most part, not all of it, obviously. Is that so? Is that still, that seems to be getting better than it was maybe a year or two ago, about opportunities coming your way that are fits and not fits? Or are you seeing partnerships and such align better than they were maybe before there was more clarity on the CMMC stuff? So
we felt it was really important to have that foundation, to know what we do well, we have a really strong understanding of what we do well. And every provider in the room over there has their strengths and has areas that they probably don't want to do work in or not strong on. Partnerships for us start with that advisory segment of it. Folks that can come in and do a really great job of assessing the client, assessing that boundary, understanding where it is, becomes a great entry point for us to be able to identify, are we a good fit for that company? There are certain things, being primarily a Microsoft shop, for example, there are other large cloud providers that we're not necessarily a great fit for certain parts of those clients. It's one of the areas for myself as I come into this growth officer role is how can we create partnerships where we can then distribute some of that workload and have a better together type of story and serve a larger base of clients, a larger addressable market of clients, and ultimately provide a better service to our clients.
Yeah, that's well said. That's why we do have relationships that are strong
Exactly.
in this space, is that most of the, especially now compared to the last few years, people want to be told in a way where to go. Like, they don't want to go out into the wild and find out that everything sounds and feels the same when it's not. And I know you guys do a great job of this. I'm sure you're seeing the value of mock assessments now versus, say, a year or two ago when it was still kind of, do I need to do one? But we're seeing the same thing. Are you guys seeing the value of doing one of those prior to going to an assessment to kind of, like you said, showcase the confidence?
We have a whole program. We've actually trademarked it called CMMC Ready, which is the actual preparation for the assessment. The analogy I like to use, I'll do the short version of it, is if you're a runner and you run every day and then you sign up for a marathon, you're going to do extra training to be ready for that marathon. The assessment is your marathon. It's that event where you want to be at peak performance. The mock assessment is a critical piece to that. We pretty much insist on it because it's the dress rehearsal. It's going to have you go through every one of the assessment objectives, and everyone's going to know their part. I'm answering this question, you're answering that question. Oh wait, we might have a problem here. Let's go shore this up and get it right. So when we get to the assessment, we don't have any stutter, we don't have any stumbles. We're going to be able to nail the assessment when we get there.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I don't run.
Neither do I.
Spoiler alert. I don't run. So, no, that's good. Yeah, that's. I think that's where the swimming approach has been used to, where then people thought they were just going to get into the shallow end and walk into where there's a lifeguard to watch. When a lot of people then realized they were just cannonballing into the deep end, and now they don't know how to swim because, and it's not even their fault. They just were never taught how to swim. So that's a problem. Well, that's good. So. Anything more on the partnership side? I know your guys' roles have evolved as your company's gotten larger with more experiences that you guys are learning. Any kind of ideal partnership side that you like to talk about, where are you starting to see those alliances in a good way, like shape up in the space? Yeah,
I think as everyone gets comfortable and we're in their niches, and we're very much in this space, is we're much more open. We've always been open to partnerships and relationships like we've had over the years, where when things are a fit or not a fit, how do we make sure that we're taking care of that customer? How are we putting them in a spot that they're going to be successful? That's not always us. Yeah. Sometimes it's someone that is like yourselves or someone that we're friends with. In some cases, it is, do they have expertise in technologies or assets or certain capabilities that maybe we're not necessarily strong in? Mm-hmm. That's the biggest spot that I see an opportunity for us to grow, to be able to kind of partner together to handle some of those more unique, more custom assets and above and beyond what we handle in our reference architecture.
Well, you said it best, and he's telling the truth, because it does matter in the space, and those with experiences. I do like the fact that you highlighted that. I think we've been around about the same amount of time. Yep. The experiences have mattered. There were things that we didn't know. People didn't know, and there were a lot of other pieces of the puzzle that also weren't defined, and that got a little messy. And it was no one was really doing it for wrong reasons per se. It was just more guidance, and we're getting more and more. It's been clear more and more. I mean, we got Rev 3, which we're not going to talk about. There's stuff like that those that are new to this, trying to provide products and services that maybe don't have the expertise, it can be a little risky, but they too will learn their experiences as time goes on.
There is so much as this industry evolves. Every day we're finding new niches and new areas that, oh, wait a minute, we've got to go drill into that. Even today, the role of the ESP relative to the assessment, we're starting to talk about, we're 1 year in now. We're 1 year into assessments. Companies have had mergers, they've had acquisitions, they're starting to wonder, when do you trigger that next assessment? Like, we're getting into a whole new range of topics that are really healthy, because it's about the growth and maturity of the industry, and we're going to find our way through the next set of challenges that we had to go through the first 10 or 12 to get to these next 3 to 5 or whatever they are.
Yep.
And, there's a great agenda this week here at CUI-CON. I'm so excited to be here. Some really great speakers, and we're going to start getting into some of those deeper topics over the next 2 days, and it's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to learning a lot.
And this is your first CUI-CON.
It is my
correct?
first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's busy.
It's such a great event. They've done a great job putting it together. I'm super excited about it. We'll definitely be back, and hopefully they'll let me come back and speak again too.
Well, if that happens and we are here again, then we'll have you back on, because some of these topics we're talking about are never going to go away. But those perspectives, as you said, and the lessons learned are super valuable. That's what we try to share on these. So thanks for spending a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Cuick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Cuick Track, visit our website at www.cuicktrack.com.